Welcome, everybody. Today is the last part of our three-part series, Making Every Word Count. And I haven't said this yet, but the way I'm thinking about this is it's connective tissue that will bring all the parts of the Bardsy approach together. As you probably know, I've been working on another book, sort of a more all-encompassing guide to writing a novel. And I think this is the linchpin, right? Breaking the novel down so we can identify what our target is. So without further ado, let me do a quick review of parts 1 and 2. Part 1, we talked about word budget, right? Every word you add demands some amount of time and attention from your reader. Novels have evolved to be about 100,000 words. Why? Most likely because that balances the investment, what the reader is putting in, with the novel's payoff, right? They put in more than 100,000 words. You're still probably only going to be you're still probably only going to be able to give them one novel's payoff. You put in less than 100,000 or so words, dramatically less, you're probably not even going to be able to give them one novel-sized payoff. Then we move to chapters, 3,000 words. We talked about why, uniform length, and a satisfying reading nugget. And then last time we dove more deeply into chapters. We talked about what I call the paradox, where a chapter should be complete and yet leave the reader wanting more. And I tried to frame an ideal approach to writing chapters as a contextualized choice, right? Every chapter is centered on the choice situation a main character is facing, and then the rest of the information is context to bring that choice out. Debatable, but what I do know is that there are 5 keys to writing a good chapter, and we should use these as we evaluate chapters. I'll probably talk about them in more detail and probably develop a tool that is going to somehow enact this idea. So there's internal keys, right? Ones that speak to reader satisfaction. That includes orientation, right? Preventing the reader from being confused, making sure they are on the road to empathy with the main characters. 2, a peak, right? Some kind of focal point that the reader can take away. 3, an interim payoff, right? Can't have satisfaction without a payoff. And then there's external factors, which are continuity, right? The chapter has to fit into the ongoing story, and equally importantly, progress, right? The chapter has to progress the story, right? We have to have a clear answer to the question, why is this chapter here? Okay, so let's break some new ground. Big picture, we're trying to spend our words wisely. So we want to think of this as a choice. We can either spend words on this or on that. And to make this decision rigorously, systematically, whatever nice scientific word you want, we need to come up with a way to unitize stories. So far we have unitized stories. We've talked about novels as a unit, and we've talked about chapters as a unit. And what we're going to do right now is talk about the lowest level unit. Within chapters, we need a more granular way of thinking about our word choices so that we can make them wisely, right? To decide what to do, which we'll specify in a second. So the question is, what is the lowest level unit of writing? And it's kind of hard, right? So I'm just going to run through a couple. I'll talk about some reasons why I don't think they're all that useful, and then we're going to settle on paragraphs. So the first one we have is sentences. The second one we have is sections, and then we'll get to paragraphs. Let me skip this. So why not sentences, right? Everyone's like, oh, you write beautiful sentences, or I worked so hard to get this sentence just right. My suggestion to you is, by and large, that is not the best way to spend your time. Right? I've seen people have beautiful writing. Rarely do you find a commercial success where beautiful writing has made the difference. right? Remember, novels are stories in words. So what we are concentrating on is telling our story in the words we write. And making them beautiful is a nice thing, but, and I don't know if I'll get any pushback on this, it is kind of besides the point. So don't put too much effort on your sentences. We expect good grammar, etc. We expect clear, whatever it is, avoiding confusion. But we don't expect to belabor each sentence to perfect it, right? We want a story unit that we are going to spend time perfecting, and that's going to also allow us to make the choice to leave it in, leave it out, etc. And here I think it's the real problem with sentences. They're just too short, right? We're trying to convey a complete thought so that it lands in our reader's memory, so that they can take something away from it. So try to imagine a conversation with someone that's limited to one sentence. It just doesn't happen, right? You don't read sentences. At best, you read slogans, right? Hang in there. Thank God it's Wednesday. Whatever it is not a complete thought. It's not sufficiently developed to share meaning. Now, there is a slight exception to this, which is focal sentences, right? We talked about this with Kim last time, right? They had planted the seeds of Germany's history, right? That sentence attracted our attention because it's freighted with significance. Now, there's a lot of things to say about this, but I will, for now, let's just leave it at this. You can't predict which sentences are going to be focal. Right? You can only look at it in retrospect in the context of an entire novel, as well as the reader's individual experience. And then that may or may not lead particular sentences to stick in readers' minds. So we don't want to count on that, right? We want to have a unit of story, in this case, a subunit of chapters that allows for a complete thought. And then we can entertain a bigger unit, sections, right? And this, I think, is equally problematic. How long is a section? Well, chances are it's too long to serve the function we need here. I've seen chapters that have just one section and it's perfectly fine. On the other hand, there's chapters with 5 or 6 sections that makes each of them about 600 words or so. Also perfectly fine, right? We need something smaller, and we need something that is more tractable, right? And yet still a complete thought. So sections have their uses, right? Largely, when you see those 3 asterisks, it's some kind of skip function, right? You're moving to a different time or place, right? They are important for stories, but they are not going to be useful for the kind of analysis we want to do. Excuse me. So, paragraphs, right? Paragraphs are a good unit of story when you're making decisions over when you're choosing words. Why? Well, there's many per chapter. That makes it an effective unit. Length of paragraphs vary, probably 50 to 150 words, and we want them to vary, right? There's no writing guide out there that doesn't say you shouldn't vary the length of your paragraph. Sometimes there's sort of arbitrary constraints. Begin a new paragraph with dialogue. But for the most part, with 150-word paragraphs, we're going to have 20 paragraphs per chapter. Shorter paragraphs, we're going to have about 60. Either one of those is fine, right? You can target for the middle 40. We're not completely agnostic about that. But what we do know is, somewhere between 20 and 60, that's a good number of units for us to analyze. And the other good thing about a paragraph is it is a complete thought, right? You can probably convey meaning within 150-word paragraph. And if you can't, we can just expand the unit of analysis slightly and talk about 1 to 3 paragraphs, right? Certainly by the time you get to 400 to 500 words, you can definitely share meaning and have a complete thought. So today's wisdom really boils down to writing good paragraphs. And I will make 2 suggestions. 1, relevance, which we beat every single time we talk. And 2, maximize value or maximum value. And that's what I'm going to focus on to conclude this little talk. Let's do relevance first, right? What's relevance? Very simple. Should I leave this in or should I take it out? Right? Everything you leave in should be relevant. Everything that is not relevant should be left out. It's very simple, right? And yet, people want to throw stuff in their novels. Oh, this is a good scene. How could I possibly cut it? Well, it's not relevant. Now, chances are it could be relevant, and your goal shouldn't be to cut it out and throw it away. Your goal should be figuring out how to make it relevant. And unsurprisingly, our 2 most important tools, minimal complete story and continuity and value delivery sheet, both center on this question of relevance. If something isn't in your MCS, it is not a crucial part of your story. If something isn't in your CVDS, it is not a crucial part of your chapters. So relevance is the sine qua non of good storytelling. Part of relevance is asking the now question. Is it not only relevant, it has to be in the story, but is it relevant at this place in the story? This is a question about immediacy and sequencing, right? This may be relevant, but it does not belong in chapter 2. Certainly not in chapter 1, maybe not in chapter 5. It belongs in chapter 15, right? That is another aspect of relevance that we sometimes ignore, right? Authors want the good stuff to go in first. So you have a meaty scene now, right? Maybe it's not the right time. Again, use the tools. And then the third relevance question is how much, right? Okay, this is relevant and it has to appear now. Then we come to the wise spending bottom line, which is how many words do I devote to this particular thought, idea, meaning, right? And we know it can be too long. We call that an info dump, right? And those are generally bad, unless you have a slavishly devoted audience, which I hope you all will sooner rather than later. On the other hand, we don't want it to be too short. It's the same problem we always face. Too long, bad. Too short, bad. We want it to be just enough. And the term I'm going to suggest here is dynamic necessity. Try to figure out what the reader needs to know in that moment of the story, that particular chapter, to understand what's going on, etc., right? Just enough. You don't want to belabor the point and tell them too much. On the other hand, you don't want to leave them sort of curious, right? I need to know this now in order to be able to understand what's going on. That's the necessity. And then the dynamic part is it adjusts depending on what else is going on in the story, right? Is it chapter 1? Is it near the end, etc.? Okay. Now we get to the newer part, which is to create paragraphs with the maximum value. So the way to think about this is we have our novel, we've set that up, MCS. We have our chapter keys, we've set that up, CBDS. Now we're going to work on adding value within that framework. Where does value come from? Key question. It comes from elaborating and extending on the 4 story elements. Nothing else. If you were trying to add something else in or etc., it just wouldn't work. It wouldn't be relevant, right? Remember those 5 elements: plot, which is largely a function of the chapter, character, world, conflict, and theme, to remind you, completely capture everything in a story. In other words, there is nothing in a story that isn't in one of those 5 elements. So within a given chapter, you are trying to expand and extend and elaborate on those 4 elements. That is how you add value, right? That is what guides your word choice. And of course, you want to weave this elaboration and extension in artistically, creatively, right? Use your craft. Why? To maintain coherence. We don't want to, again, see a digression. We want to see something that is relevant in the moment and that expands on key aspects of the story in the form of these elements. So the real win comes when you have multi-value paragraphs, hence the title of this talk, right? Your aim for a given paragraph should always be to elaborate and extend on at least two elements, right? So character and theme, conflict and world, right? Whatever it is, every paragraph should be doing double duty, right? And what that means is your words are going to count for twice as much as they otherwise would. And what that's going to require is packing more stuff into each paragraph. Now, there's an upper limit on how much you can pack into, right? Aim for two elements. So if you discuss a character in this case, you'd want to have some kind of thematic world or conflict situation, pardon me, information added into that, right? Weaved into that. And then if you could add a third element, even better, right? As long as you're sort of coherent and, you know, not overburdening the reader as they're moving. And then, of course, a 2 or 3 paragraph section that hits on all 4 elements, that's a super win. And I think I pulled out one example from your chapters today that did that, but we'll test that in a second. And remember, right, this is a plea for intentionality, right? You can also think about it as a plea for discipline. The discipline is about relevance. The intentionality is about packing stuff in there within this framework we've established. And the idea is that we are pushing value into our novel continuously, in addition to the other things, expanding on each of our 4 elements and every opportunity that arises to make our novels a better experience than the competition. Okay. And we have some time for thoughts and questions.
Bardsy delivers the tools, guidance, and support you need to produce compelling novels. Our well-researched and thoroughly tested approach includes our minimum complete story, a 90-second exercise that keeps your writing on track while fueling creativity. Bardsy Publishability Index, a 23-dimension checklist that offers attainable goals and provides actionable feedback. And our brand new comprehensive character developer that helps you construct unforgettable characters. Come see for yourself at Bardsy.com today. Try our workshop or enter our first chapter contest. Then, when you're ready, Elite Membership delivers writing groups, personal coaching, and a curated community. With Bardsy, your work will captivate everyone, from agents to publishers, and, most importantly, your readers.